Alright, so before I start this video, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Renegade Operative, and I wanted to say a couple of things before I get right into my Ninja Gaiden 4 write-up and things that I want in the fourth title, hypothetically if they make it. First and foremost, number one, I haven't talked about this series in a long time. I think the last time I talked about it was 5 years ago when they suggested they were going to possibly make another Ninja Gaiden iteration, and that sort of did not come into fruition. But I'm hoping that because Koei Tecmo is going to be at Tokyo Game Show this year, that maybe they sort of throw a bone our way. The second thing is that please do not take this video as any confirmation. This is just over-glorified fan fiction at best, and that's it. This is no confirmation on Ninja Gaiden 4, so please do not think otherwise. The third thing is that recently, at the time of this recording, they did release a HD collection, so that is out for the masses. I believe if you have Game Pass PC and Game Pass itself, Game Pass Ultimate, you can play Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge right now. They don't have the online. The online features are not in the game as they used to be on the PS3 and Xbox 360 eras, but would they be remodded in? I'm not sure. Fuck it, man. I miss team missions. I miss co-op team missions. I miss doing Azuna drops on the enemies at the same time as my co-op partner. Why can I not just re-experience all the fun without going back to the PS3? It's so stupid, it makes no sense, but you know what, screw it. At least for newcomers, you will be getting some great games. You'll be getting some great gameplay in the midst. If you love hard-hitting hack-and-slash ninja games, then this is right up your alley. I don't see why you should skip out on this, especially since you can get this on Game Pass PC and Game Pass only for $1. That's my recommendation. Done at least a good job of them porting those games to other platforms so people can play them and re-enjoy them yet again. Now, let's talk about what I want for the fourth iteration. Hypothetically speaking, Ninja Gaiden has always been relevant. It's always been such a great hack-and-slash calling to me. A distinctive video game franchise that I readily cherished as time went on. Whether it boiled down to witnessing the classic NES trilogy or seeing Ryu's reimagined world on 7th generation platforms, it was always something that was beloved in this franchise. The game was unrelenting in its initial difficulty, being batshit insane as a platformer. AVGN once said that there was a time where if you die on the final boss, then you would have to restart all the way back through previous areas. There was no checkpoint system. You had to basically go through the game with your skill alone and deal with the obstacles in front of you. You couldn't save scum, you couldn't cover your ass. This was old school masochism at its purest form when we talk about the way that video games were tailored back in the late 90s to late 80s, you know. Tomono Itagaki had a different vision in mind when he modernized a revival of the series for Ninja Gaiden. I guess after DOA 2, that was when Itagaki wanted to snuff out rivals like the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube with big busty lusty women for days. It became apparent that he also wanted to make something special with Ninja Gaiden. He created a resurgence for the series that focused on hack-and-slash combat. The game was all about precise movement, skill, and downright brutal enemies that will crush you faster than a keg at a frat party. After 5 arduous years, Ninja Gaiden released on the original Xbox in 2004. The game was met with critical acclaim, cited as an outstanding achievement within the character action genre during that year alone. The game was re-released a year later with an updated variant called Ninja Gaiden Black, which included all the DLC dubbed the Hurricane Packs. After a well-praised sequel and 2 duds, which were crafted from Satan's anus, since it seems like, you know, the modern Ninja Gaiden series entered its dormant state because of it, there was a glimmer, some light in the tunnel for fans to witness when Team Ninja spoke on Ninja Gaiden's future. I made a video on this, I talked about this, and I guess to call back to the games that were the devil's anus would probably be Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, where the camera is more drunk than Shia LaBeouf at a New Orleans bar for some reason. And then you would have the terrible original version of Ninja Gaiden 3, where apparently there's no weapon variants and you're stuck with like the dragon sword for almost a large entirety of the game, if not the full game itself, from what I heard. I never played the original version of Ninja Gaiden 3, but I heard bad things about that game. Utterly terrible, utterly awful. I might as well just stick to playing Razor's Edge for the fuck of it. I talked about Ninja Gaiden 4 news. The last inkling we heard of things was the fact that they want to do a game centered on the female Konichi, or whatever they call it, the Konichiwa ninja. I don't know what I'm saying anymore now. But they want to do stuff with Ayane and Momichi, those characters that you see pop up every now and then in the Tomono Itagaki and Razor's Edge series, and you can play with them from the DOA franchise. That would be a cool game. That would be a cool premise. And Team Ninja also mentioned that Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden was also on their #1 priority list when it came to flagship titles. At this point in time, DOA 6, as we talk now, it did get a legitimate, you know, follow-up, and it did get DLC support for the worst, because the priced skirts, clothes, and panties that people seem to love were segmented to hell and overpriced. They also seem self-aware that the internal team is craving to jump back into the mix with another adrenaline shot for the Ninja Gaiden franchise. They cited that now would be the best time, since Sekiro was cited as a clear inspiration, showing that ninja titles aren't quite dead. Yet, if you cherry pick through the past of underappreciated and undervalued titles like Shinobi, I think you will find more retro ninja games to play from the past. I suppose I'm going to spark my own imagination today when talking about a potential Ninja Gaiden 4. As I said before, don't take it too seriously. It's all just fan fiction at the end of the day. Thank you very much. The first thing we will have to do is drag Nioh by his feet, preferably kicking and screaming, since it has some explaining to do about a blue-clad ninja appearing in the Nioh DLC titled Bloodshed's End, given the appearance of Jin Hayabusa. I would include some kind of flashback sequence to let the player delve into the backstory of Ninja Gaiden 4 involving the Hayabusa clan before they became so legendary. This would not only show that the clan would have a lot to prove in this period due to shoestring infamy, but it would also show that Jin is willing to do what it takes to solidify the Hayabusa name and assassination. This means that he isn't particularly appreciative of doing all these things under the guise of Oda after being so persuasive about the castle deal for Mount Fuji. Assassination, drawing a sword on a child enemy, etc. All the messed up things you could think about while living the life of a ninja where the lines of honor are blurred, and he obviously kills people by Azuna drops, so that's gonna crack a few heads now and then. At that point, we established this connection that would drive a fragile alliance between Jin Hayabusa and Nobunaga, explaining more about Nobunaga's underlying intentions to rip free from his own human mortality as the self-proclaimed Demon King. It would feel like a potential waste if they didn't talk about the uprising abilities that we're seeing within the Hayabusa clan as the missing equation, the missing cog that explained why this faction was so efficient at getting the job done from other hired shoguns around the place. There's an info screen that details the creation behind the Dragon Castle in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. It mentions that during the concept phase of the castle, that Oda Nobunaga had prior knowledge about the Hayabusa clan well before meeting them within the Warring States period. This impenetrable fortress was constructed as a means to combat unspeakable evil around Mount Fuji Plains. The most interesting thing about this mountain-sized complex was that it served as a means to protect the Dark Dragon Blade from falling into enemy hands. Ninja Gaiden references the Hanochi incident, which detailed an actual event that centered on Musahide's troops converging upon the temple after a massive battle. It was noted that Nobunaga committed suicide with the assistance from a subordinate, Mori Ranmaru. You already know, to keep things interesting, to keep things engaging, that this prequel chapter doesn't end with Oda Nobunaga dying out of the blue. Quite the contrary. In order to prevent Oda from being susceptible to the hands of death, I will make it clear that my story will have Ranmaru injecting him with Amarita essence. If you know how this stuff works in Nioh lore, then you already know this is a bad concoction, a recipe for a disaster. Amarita has the ability to turn a human into a vast yokai creature. Jin is the first to witness this and tries to defeat Oda before being overwhelmed by insurmountable odds. This wouldn't be your traditional one-on-one fight. Let's say Ranmaru jumps right into the fray for a more dramatic effect. The only thing that the Hayabusa clan could do at this rate during all the fighting and suffering is seal away these evils from the teachings that they've learned during their expedition of mystical alchemy and light and dark arts within the Dragon Castle. Oda is then believed to be exiled from Earth after the clan's spellcasting plunged the creature into a different dimension. Jin Hayabusa suddenly loses his consciousness while being congratulated by some Hayabusa clansmen. Later, he tries to get up and he starts to stir in his dreams, and a voice tells him that chaos is coming for his entire family bloodline, including his wife, in the future. As Jin awakes, he notices a deep crimson pool of blood from his friends before he could even take that opportunity to recollect himself. The Jin Hayabusa tragedy becomes obvious as he begins succumbing to the supernatural Amarita evil. This would tie and somewhat turn into a dark legacy for the Hayabusa family as a plot twist which details the first Hayabusa that turns Ronin for these actions, turns into a demon, fiend, Oni, whatever you prefer. It's stated that the fiend blood or the Oni fiend inheritance could be something that would potentially pass from generation to generation via ancient human tribes. This is immediately explained to Ryu as we jump forward to the present and you see him freshly healed after his ordeal with the grip of murder. This should be one of those sequels that explores Hayabusa's supernatural tendencies, or it should at least bring this question up as a possibility. I think these are logical questions to really ask for a hypothetical Ninja Gaiden sequel, like how was Ryu able to withstand the grip of murder curse for so long in Ninja Gaiden 3? How was Ryu able to come back to life after Doku sliced through him like a wet paper bag in Ninja Gaiden 1? Does the falcon that it revived Ryu, does that falcon represent something more? With the appearance of doppelgangers and fiends that look like Ryu, does that mean that something is deeper behind those enemies being passed down within his bloodline? Joe Hayabusa tells the son that any weak-minded or weak-willed individual would have readily been consumed by the curse. This grants some sort of partial immunity, possibly something that saved the son's life for better or worse. Ryu finally believes that he's ready to part ways to live his life as a normal shopkeeper without blood on his hands. This was alluded to before somewhere in Ninja Gaiden 3. I think Ryu was asked if he was willing to live a normal life before he realized that he never really had that opportunity for marriage or children. Joe Hayabusa ponders if that's possible that the Dragon Ninja clan can be free from their past sins. Joe thinks about his own disability and what caused him to be like this due to his attack by Genshin. He initially disproves, citing that there's always going to be a burden on the Hayabusa clan, although he slowly accepts peace for his family as Irene Liu, aka Sonya, Ryu's current girlfriend, starts to enlighten the picture. I guess at this point you can also say that, well, Joe Hayabusa and Irene, they have a wholesome moment as they joke around, and Ryu's father then says, "This is the woman for him," turning the Dragon Ninja Ryu Hayabusa wholesome yet again. Suddenly, there's a huge unexpected attack at the reformed Hayabusa village. Everyone almost dies in this onslaught yet again. I know they're getting attacked and beaten like a drum, but let me explain. They protect the village but die in the process from a strong winged intruder who has like insurmountable power. This intruder then makes claims and taunts. The demonic king then starts to taunt Hayabusa, saying that he will destroy everything he loved at the Hayabusa estate. He will kill everyone more and more again. He will kill his family, his girlfriend, etc. because of the miscommunication that was done at the Hanochi. Apparently, because of this and the stuff involving Mitsuhide and an advantage of leaked information, Joe Hayabusa, a slightly older man by this point, tries to save his son, but both ninjas are impaled by a seemingly reforged dark dragon blade. Ryu then screams in agony, swearing that he fully destroyed this weapon during the events that spawned from Itagaki's first Ninja Gaiden title. The beast proclaims that he is the devil incarnate, a fallen angel that will make Ryu feel the true sensation of pain. He makes one final exclamation that the yokai will surpass the Vigor Empire as the two impaled ninjas fall to the ground. The demon leaves in a crimson flash as Irene cries over Ryu and Joe Hayabusa's crumbled bodies. Flash forward to Ryu waking up in the hospital. He has nightmares about chaos, and a grip of chaos is bringing out this fiendish power while he's having all these flashbacks. There's fights between Genshin and Joe and the Regent of the Mask that you could put in here as well. I hope I said that right. Regent of the Mask. These extensive cries for bloodlust slowly start to enter Ryu Hayabusa's subconscious. Ryu then awakes to the news that his father remains in critical condition while all responding to medical personnel. They have a debate sort of saying, are they going to pull the plug or not, etc. And it gets really grim and dark from here. Ryu then tells Irene that he vows revenge on this creature so peace can once again be restored to the name of Hayabusa. Obviously, the big twist is that the winged yokai creature is actually Demon King Nobunaga from Koei Tecmo fame, imbued with a shard of Amarita, the almighty evil. An even bigger plot twist is the very familiar ninja that pops up in the story, let's call him the Joaquo, appearing multiple times as a rival character. This character is none other than a corrupted form of Jin Hayabusa himself. Holy crap, plot twist within a plot twist, like a damn Twizzler, my boys. We can make some contrived reference that after the battle with William Adams in the past, there was him, Jin, and Oda. The latter established himself as the yokai shogun of Mount Fuji. Jin gave too much self-pity trying to prove himself to Oda, thus Oda controlled him. Due to the fiend inheritance being passed down from generation to generation, this allowed the Joaquo to live even longer, escaping death after thousands of years. Having Ryu fight Jin after knowing what Jin has done to assist Nobunaga would raise even more conflicted values against the Hayabusa clan. Ryu would be thinking how this dark legacy could tarnish the clan's name, yet at the same time, he wants to save his relative from all the unnecessary violence. It would mean that Ryu would have to overcome his bloody lineage to restore faith to himself and everybody around him so he doesn't become a reflection of what his fiend-ridden ancestors are like. Then we have another bombshell because Jin Hayabusa at this point sorta says it's too late for him, don't save me, because of a prior plot point to Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword. Let's just say that Ryu barely won a fight against the Dark Dragon while doing everything in his power to prevent this resurgence. Let's say that the Dark Dragon was a woman, and we'll tie that plot in involving one half of the Fiends for their creation, and the Fiend's name will be Ishtaros. Originally the wife of Jin Hayabusa, all susceptible to mind control, as Jin helplessly prepared his wife for a ritual under Oda's command. She then committed herself to a fiend awakening. Her skin was immortalized as a warning. Jin then blames Ryu for causing him this much gripe, as Oda starts to commence attack. This revelation will be considered as the rising action of the story. The rising action for the uninitiated is a series of relevant incidents to create suspense, interest, and tension in a fictional narrative. With no choice as fatal blows are exchanged, Ryu cuts off Jin's head as he cries, feeling the sorrow of his lineage slowly slipping away. Oda then shows up, and before Ryu gives into vengeance, we'll say that this is exactly what Oda wanted, so he could control Ryu's mind under chaos next. Kind of some similar elements of remixed things from Dark Sword of Chaos, but obviously this will be a lot more darker. Ryu then remembers his friend, his slain friend from Ninja Gaiden 1, Kiriha. Then this breaks Oda's spell. The two have a final battle, the true Dragon Sword versus the reforged Dark Dragon Blade. They clash one more time as Ryu cuts the villain in half, and this new fiendish state, this purified fiendish state, is destroyed. The game ends on a cliffhanger as they ponder to Joe Hayabusa if he would awake from his coma and if he really will, recover from those injuries that he received, because I feel like they need to go somewhere. They need to break Ryu down and sort of put him at his saddest, lowest moment, and I think that would be a perfect way to do so, with him pondering if his father is going to make it out alive or not. And I know he has to obviously live, because I think Itagaki's Ninja Gaiden is still kind of prequels to the older games. Yes, I did my freaking homework, my boys. Although you'll see teases like Ryu donning the classic blue costume actually in cutscenes, saying he has plans to merit himself on protecting others, to teach his clan about the dangers that lie ahead, and stuff that involves being selfish is not the Hayabusa way. These injuries do kill Joe in the next iteration, so we can sort of do some retcons there. So we'll chalk that up down to a lifelong injury being part of the problem, because he's in a wheelchair later on. And I think that would be a nice way to say, hey, this is still a prequel, but we're doing it in our own sort of way. And that would be like really cool. Like, that would be awesome, man. I like that. I like that a lot. During the end credits, we will see Ashtar, which is the villain of the NES game Ninja Gaiden 2, and he's picking up the shards of the Dark Dragon Blade, the shards of Chaos, and he's saying there needs to be a new subordinate, while claiming that the Dark Sword of Chaos will be the only primary weapon to resurrect the Vigor Empire. This means that it ties into the NES game as well. Honestly, I don't see why they don't remake the NES trilogy coming off the heels of that if they decide to do that. That story would be another key for another day. I guess this is where more of the fun begins, when I talk about some brief gameplay elements and aspects they could bring back into the fold. Well, obliteration technique is a no-brainer, along with Still on Bone, that carries over from Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge respectively. It creates parries that will award you for perfect timing. Maybe rid the game away of QTEs, since I don't think they really served any purpose in Razor's Edge really than to just annoy the hell out of me in that game. Plenty of costumes need to come back, less hurricane packs, more, you know, you get your costumes by playing the game instead of loose DLC that costs like $100. But yeah, that's what I would personally want to unlock that. Ryu should have new alts in the game, as well as alts from the Dead or Alive franchise, and the idea of him coming back with the black and gold gi that he had in the original DOA 2. I think that would be cool if they brought that back. There should be plenty of new options in this game as well. I'm not sure, it's just so many when you really think about it. Since the third game really embraced Ryu being unmasked, then maybe he should have that as well, as an outfit, you know what I mean? That should be kind of cool. Like, why hide the face? You said unmasked hero in Ninja Gaiden 3, that was a signature tagline, unmasked hero. Why not have it in this game in particular? But you know, taking the mask off and on, and having that nostalgia, whatever you want, customization possibly with some of the outfits. I know customizing isn't exactly new to Ninja Gaiden, because in the third game you could customize your ninja to take it to battle, because it could be Ryu or someone else, or you could pick a custom ninja, but it wasn't really in depth. You could pick a couple of movesets and that's it, a couple of armors, maybe some clothes, but I want everything to be fully customizable in the campaign. I need that in my life. I need that to be done. Also, the character creator in 3 is lacking, because you can't create a female ninja, so you can't do that either. So give me full options for all the customizable characters that are side characters, like Momichi, Ayane, Hayate, Kasume, Ryu, etc. Let me customize all of them, as well as create my own custom ninja if I want to, and then I could take them through the campaign or team missions, or do something like that. That would be, ooh, smoking hot. That's the smoking hot gun right there, bitch. I need that in my life. Come on, you know what I mean? You know, put some cool shit in there, that cool stuff. I want team missions back, man. I know I ranted about this earlier, but I think they would be a very cool addition with putting that back in there at 60 FPS, stable frame rate, some hectic co-op situations that you can go through as you pour in the enemies, the bosses, etc. I don't suppose they could make that 3 players like Nioh 2, you know. If you could, then do it. I would say do it, you know, have a little bit more fun in the process, increase the level cap for that, and you will have like a lot of fun with enemies and harder difficulties, etc. And I believe that would be an overall swell time. No more goddamn slow healing as well, compared to how it was in the original team missions when people got downed, or people decided to try to self-heal in Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. I think that was really bad when they had Ryu on the ground pressing R3 for a prolonged period of time, you know what I mean? If there's no potions, there's no bueno. I guess you could find a way to pepper in Dead or Alive characters. Of course, we talked about earlier how they would want to make more stages and games centered on the mechanics of the female ninja, and I think that could work. Ayane, Kasume, Momichi, all those characters, Rachel, you could have them fight and do big hammers and swing on people, obliteration moves. That would be cool if they take over while Ryu's taking a nap, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, to be frank, I definitely found some good use for these characters in those sub chapters, and maybe if they want to expand on DOA characters being in there, I don't see why they won't add people like Hayate. Yeah, do something when, have him do something when Ryu is incapacitated. I mean, he took Hayate's sword in Ninja Gaiden 3, so why not have him return the favor? Then of course, they could be playable characters in team missions as well. I don't think the PvP should come back though, since virtually no one really cared about it in Ninja Gaiden 3 for you know, Clan of the Ninja or whatever they called it. They could potentially do post-game DLC with those Ninja Gaiden and DOA characters that's not Ryu, so that could be possible. Maybe play as Joe. I always wonder, you know, prequel material, but I always wonder if they could do some more extra incentive for people who never played the previous games. And I think maybe making a full bundle of the games they just put out as HD remasters, along with bringing over the older Ninja Gaiden games if they can, and then putting 4 into one big package would be ideal. I know that would cost like maybe $90, but you know what, if they have the HD versions and the classics and all that shit and the new game in one bundle and you get all this shit, I would probably buy it. I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably buy it again for the classic HD remaster, because I just like being a collector and having all these things in the palm of my hands. I like incentives. Incentives are nice. Trying out new stuff and having Ryu have size like weapons, that'd be cool. I always found it weird that he was a ninja and he had a lot of instruments in Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 1 and Razor's Edge, but he never had a sai. So I want air still on bone as well. I want crazy shit, like to be able to do parries in the air, because I feel like enemies in the air can attack you and all this other shit. So why not just do an air slide and try to do like a fucking neck drop and then you do all this crazy stuff? I want the obliterations to be like a lot more gory. I want obliteration techniques to be a lot more gory and insane. That's what I need from a new Ninja Gaiden. I really need that bad, man. Like, whoa, man, just imagine that. You'll be making my day, brother, with all these ideas, and obviously they could use something like that to their advantage, and I would like to see most of this stuff done. But what do I know? I'm just like shooting from the hip and telling you guys what I really want. Anyway, that is my opinions done on talking about the things I want from Ninja Gaiden 4, story, context, setting it up, and sort of trying to align a picture and seeing if it would be really good. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Like, if they did hypothetically make Ninja Gaiden 4, which direction would you want that to go in story wise after Ninja Gaiden 3, and how would you remedy things from that game in order to make 4 better? Tell me what you want: weapons, techniques, moves, costumes, all that stuff coming back into fruition. Let me know. You can find me on Discord, all the stuff in the description. I have a geek culture Discord as well as a survival horror Discord, so we talk about horror, we talk about horror movies, all types of shit in the geek culture variety, you know what I mean? RPGs, hack and slashes, first person shooters, all that good stuff, beat 'em ups, retro, mainstream, we got it all, baby. You know, join us if you want, and that'll be great. And you can find me on social media: Twitter, Instagram, gamer tags, all that in the description. Anyway, this is Renegade Operative signing out. Once again, we're gonna be like a hidden ninja and scram. See you guys next time. Later.